So welcome to Johnson County Community College. My name is Michelle Riley. I am a registered dietitian and assistant professor here in the hospitality department, and we're really excited to be partnering with the University of Kansas on this Cook Right, Eat Right series. And with that note, I'm going to introduce Dr. Debra Sullivan from the University of Kansas Medical Center, and she's going to introduce our speakers.
Thank you, Michelle. And as Michelle said, we are very excited. I'm Debra Sullivan, the chair of the Department of Dietetics and Nutrition at the University of Kansas Medical Center. And so my department, so the university has partnered with KU, the health system, as well as the Johnson County Community College, and joined forces to offer these nutrition education and culinary skills to the community. And so we're excited to be working together and excited that you're here. So it's my pleasure to introduce our speakers this evening. Our first speaker is Dr. Jennifer Klemp. And Jennifer, even though I know Jennifer, I'm gonna read so I make sure I get it all right. So Jennifer is an associate professor of medicine and in the Division of Clinical Oncology at the University and she's also the director of the Cancer Survivorship at the University of Kansas Cancer Center. Dr. Klemp has worked in the field of breast cancer prevention and survivorship since 1996. Her research interests include shared decision-making regarding options to manage cancer risk, cancer genetics, the impact of lifestyle modification in cancer survivors, and development of cancer survivorship programming. And I know Jennifer well because I worked with her because she does nutrition-related projects.
Great. Thank you all for being here tonight. Great. And I think this is a wonderful series, especially as you'll hear from Nick here in a few. There's so many great options for dietary change, especially this summer. Things are vibrant, things are in season. And so hopefully this will stimulate you for eating better, incorporating more fruits and vegetables in your life. And then I'm just going to give you a few kind of nuts and bolts about cancer prevention that you can incorporate also, hopefully sort of day to day. So since my day job has to do with genetics and risk, I kind of wanted to give you a framework for understanding what we call personalized medicine. And there's a big sort of, I think, misconception that personalized medicine is only about genetics. Like what you were born with, what you were sort of hardwired with, that determines everything that will happen to you. And your genetics is a really important piece of that. And we test people every day to see if they have genetic mutations, but there's also other pieces of this discussion that need to be addressed. And in particular, we need to think not only about what's our family history look like, yes, what's our genetics like, but lifestyle. And lifestyle is a big part of that. And so you've heard back when you were in basic biology, there's a gene-environment interaction. That's really where our precision medicine comes into play. The hard part is how do we kind of put a number or put a risk value on lifestyle, right? How much should you exercise? How much are we supposed to be eating? And we're each a little different. And that's a magic question. And we ask that question in a lot of our research. Could we give patients a dose of exercise? Could we give them a specific diet that would work with their metabolism and how we can address inflammation, which is a big part of disease and in particular cancer. So these are the types of questions that we ask in collaboration with Dr. Sullivan's group so that we can find better options for cancer prevention and survivorship. So this is a slide that Nick gave me, but I thought it was funny because fruits and veggies, why they matter, not just because we were told to eat them. We had some adverse reactions probably because our moms and dads made us sit at the table until we ate all those fruits and vegetables. But what I like to tell people too is maybe you tried something when you were a kid, didn't like it. Your taste palates kind of change over time. So it's worth reintroducing some of those fruits and vegetables, not just because your mom told you to. But there's bigger reasons why they matter. And this is just some basic information from the World Health Organization. But the moral of this story is that if we add more fruits and vegetables to our diet, we get full, right? So we have good sources of energy. It fills us up. And hopefully we're not eating other things that are higher in calorie, but don't give us as much return on our investment or bang for our buck. And I think it's very important to think about diet and poor diet quality in particular have been associated with numerous chronic diseases, from cardiovascular type disease, the previous session which covered stroke, and then with cancer prevention, we know that obesity in particular has a link to cancer risk, which we'll talk about, but we also know that especially certain types of cancers of the gut, things like colon cancer, there are some associations. So it's important to think about what we put into our bodies, because that's the energy and fuel, but we also want to make sure, if we can make choices that are good for disease prevention, well, then that's kind of a win-win. So this is a slide that isn't meant to say, well, heck, I just better write it off. But being overweight and obese has an association with cancer risk. It's very well established for both initial cancer risk, recurrence, and second cancers. And what we know is that if we have a diet quality that really is not enhancing our healthy weight for whatever each of our bodies are, then we may be on the side of the scale that puts us into an overweight or obese category. So as you can see, from sort of head to toe, weight is associated with cancer risk. Now, the reason I say, I don't want you to write it off, because these are things that are risk factors, and there's not one factor, just like I said at the beginning, that's associated with why a person gets cancer. So when we talk about weight, I never like for that to be this thing that makes you feel guilty, like, well, if I don't control my weight, then that's what's going to lead to me getting heart disease or cancer. It's one of the factors that can increase risk, but it's not that's the cause and this is the effect. But it is one of the few risk factors which we can actually control. So working hard, and it's sort of like any other behavior change, you have to work at it every day. It's very mindful, it's very purposeful. And one of the things that we instill in our diet and exercise groups is that, do you ever have those days where you're on program, then all of a sudden you're off program? Someone brings something into work. Maybe you had, the full fat mocha instead of just a nice coffee with some almond milk in it. Whatever those choices are. So once you have a choice that maybe isn't on program, do you say, well, the heck with it, I'm already off program, there you go. Well, of course, we all tend to do that from time to time. But what we try to say is, push the reset button, whether it's in the middle of the day, the next day, because the longer you wait to sort of push your reset button, the longer it's going to take for you to get back on program, and we can kind of continue to reinforce those behaviors. So important to know that lifestyle, and in particular weight, have an association to cancer risk, but it's also something that we can do something about. So there's some great resources out there, and this is the New American Plate. It's fun, it's colorful, but what are the biggest pieces of this pie? It's not, high-fat protein. It's getting those fruits and vegetables and certain types of whole grains into your diet. So I think it's nice because we do have some good guidelines. You also have in your packets sort of a little how-to choosing the right portion sizes. And I think this is one of the most amazing pieces, that if you look at how we've scaled over time, it's not just we have a nice little half English muffin. You have these big muffins and big bagels. Everything's mega sized. So the important part is kind of recalibrate portion and know that that's something that we need to be very mindful of, because sometimes what we think is a single portion can sometimes be 2 or 3, and you really notice that when you're looking at beverages in particular. And then one of the nice things that's about that they've added to this My Plate and the kind of the New American Plate is they have it by state. And so when you go to the website, you can actually click Kansas, and it gives you all the things that are in season right now or that are more native to our area. So I thought that was kind of cool, that you could look and see, okay, what types of grains or fruits and vegetables, not that we have a plethora of fruits, but at least it gives us some options for what are local and what you can look for locally grown items. And even when you travel, you could click on whatever state it is. But I thought that was kind of a cool addition to see what's local to your area. And the last part that I wanted to cover before we dive more into fruits and vegetables was sort of debunking some of those myths that you hear. And I'm sure you've heard them, that being exposed to something causes cancer. Everything you can find out there causes cancer. But what are the sources that you get that information from, right? So there's a lot of non-evidence-based sources where a lot of information comes from. So I just thought I'd cover a couple quick things that are pretty common. Patients ask us all the time. And if you search online, you'll see some of these things as sort of commonly associated with searches for things that cause cancer. So the first was organic, and Nick can talk more about this because this is his expertise, but there are some definite benefits to an organic lifestyle, right? Things don't have as many pesticides and herbicides, and it's a sort of a way things are grown that has maybe a better profile. But there isn't actually an association to cancer if you don't eat an organic diet, or if you do eat an organic diet. So that definitely some health benefits, but not that association or evidence-based link to cancer at this time. But you may want to choose an organic diet because you don't want the exposure to as many chemicals, or you may want some of the other health benefits that an organic diet can give you. So there's all these websites for superfoods, like we should just eat our supercharged superfoods. And once again, patients will tell us, well, I started eating tomatoes because I want lycopenes, and I eat 15 tomatoes a day. Because, right, if you have one tomato, that's good, but 15 is way good. So the funny part about anything that people read, it seems like a little is great, but a lot must be better. And that's not necessarily true. And some of the dietary supplements that have been studied in cancer prevention actually haven't necessarily panned out to have some of those preventive qualities that we had hoped for. Because when you don't get things as whole foods, right, when we're getting things as a supplement or something that's been sort of purified down, that's different than if you ate, 15 heads of broccoli. So I personally participated in a study looking at indole-3-carbinol, which is the active ingredient in broccoli. And so they were studying that to see, could this be a preventive for women for breast cancer? I'll tell you, it didn't taste very good, it had a lot of reflux to it, but once again, didn't pan out really to be helpful, because just because you extracted the good part of broccoli didn't mean that was going to translate into what was going to help me prevent breast cancer, because I have a family history of breast cancer. So these are things where you have to be practical about it. More is not always better. And just because you can purify something doesn't mean you go out and you order every one of the superfoods, supplements, and you start taking those. Whole foods are good, and once again, sort of moderation and a balanced, colorful diet is the way to go. Should I become a vegetarian? That'll just solve the problem. We'll get rid of all the meat. Well, no, you need protein too. And good sources of protein come from meats. Now you do want to limit processed and red meat. So you don't want to, unfortunately, for those of you who love hot dogs, you can't eat a processed, hot dog every single day. Probably not a good idea, but not a good idea anyway. So limiting your red meat and processed meats is a good idea. There are some associations, but try to get a balance, once again, of lean meats, fish, chicken, poultry of any sort. Those are good choices. And then the biggest one we get is, well, I heard that sugar feeds cancer, so I have to just stop all sugar. No, but sugar can make you gain weight, right? So eating lots of sugar-based foods and having that sweet tooth where you have a dessert every day or multiple times a day, that can lead to excess weight. Excess weight is associated with the risk of cancer. But that's probably one of the things, if you search sugar and cancer, you see all kinds of stuff out there. And it's one of the things our patients actually ask us the most about. So weight is a risk factor. The sugar is not going to get in your body and start feeding your cancer. So just know that is one of the biggest myths that we tend to get, and make sure that, just understand that go ahead and ask your doctor, try to get some value-based resources and evidence-based resources, and we tried to give you some of those as well. The other handout that's in your packet, which is my last slide, is from the American Institute of Cancer Research. And this is a very evidence-based resource. We use it in research a lot, and definitely has sort of a nice little infographic here of things that you could do and should do for cancer prevention. The hard part is, whenever you make a behavior change, you're going to say, ooh, I want to do all these things. That's going to be great. I'm going to start exercising 500 minutes a week and do all this. You can't do that. You need to do a stepwise process, incorporating small bits of behavior change, and that really leads to sustained, lifelong behaviors. So adding in a fruit and vegetable tomorrow, adding in 5 more minutes, taking the stairs. Those are logical changes that you can make and that are good for overall chronic disease prevention and management, but also good for cancer prevention. So in light of that, I'm going to turn it back over to Dr. Sullivan, and we'll hear from Nick. Thank you for your time.
So now it's going to be my pleasure to introduce Nick Marchello. And Nick is a dietitian. He's been at KU since, I don't have his bio here, but I know him, since 2014. And so Nick has his master's degree in nutrition and dietetics. He has worked as a dietitian in the inpatient setting as well as an outpatient setting and in community settings. And Matt's currently in a doctoral program to get his PhD in nutrition. So it's my pleasure to introduce Nick.
Alrighty, let me get my slides up here. There we go. All right, so how is everyone doing this afternoon? Good. Excellent, excellent. Let me start off by asking everybody a question. How many of you ate a fruit or vegetable today? Raise your hands. Awesome. How many of you eaten 2 different fruits and vegetables today? How about 5? How about 7? What about 10? Excellent, excellent, excellent. So that is what my presentation is going to be on today, about the importance of eating a variety of different fruits and vegetables and being able to increase your variety by focusing on the different colors of fruits and vegetables. So here we go. So as I was just saying, variety is key because not all fruits and vegetables are identical nutritionally. All of them have different vitamins, they all have different minerals, and they all have different substances called phytochemicals. And you may be looking at me right now saying, phyto what? What in the heck are you talking about, Nick? We're going to be talking about phytochemicals here in just a second, but I really just wanted to touch on them just briefly because these are nutrients that are found in fruits and vegetables but are not vitamins and minerals. And they provide all sorts of different benefits for our health. So, like, what kind of benefits? That's what we're going to dive into after I explain just a little bit more about what the heck a phytochemical actually is. That chemical symbol that you see right there is for glucoraphanin, which is found in cruciferous vegetables, one of my personal favorite phytochemicals for a number of different reasons, mostly because I love eating cruciferous vegetables. So what is a phytochemical? It's a non-essential substance that is found in the plant. It's not a vitamin or mineral that our bodies need in order to function. You can survive without phytochemicals. However, they provide a lot of very important health benefits, separate from what vitamins and minerals provide. And so what are these phytochemicals? They're part of a plant's immune system. It's the plant's first line of defense. Let me ask everybody another question. How many of you have eaten broccoli? How many of you liked broccoli the first time you tried it? Not a whole lot of people. There is a reason for that. The glucoraphanin that's in that broccoli provides a very bitter sort of taste. That is the plant's natural defense against predators. But guess what, folks? We evolved along with plants, and our diets evolved with plants. So now our bodies are actually able to use these phytochemicals for much more beneficial purposes. So what's the deal with all the different colors? In order to get all of the benefits of fruits and vegetables, you have to eat a wide variety of fruits and vegetables. You can't be like the majority of Americans and eat just potatoes or eat just tomatoes. Those are the 2 most consumed vegetables in the United States by far. Why do you think? What sort of foods are made out of potatoes? French fries, exactly, the #1 consumed vegetable in the country. What about tomatoes? Pizza sauce. Everybody loves pizza sauce, right? Everybody loves pizza. But it's more than just those 2. You can't limit yourself to just 1 vegetable, 2 vegetables, 3 vegetables. It's an entire array of vegetables. And they all have phytochemicals. Now, they vary in the type of phytochemicals that are in them. They vary in the amount of phytochemicals, but they all have phytochemicals in some way, shape, or form, along with those vitamins and minerals. And the only way to get all the benefits is to eat all of the types. And one of the best ways to do that is to focus on color, eating all the different colors of the rainbow that you see in fruits and vegetables. So the first color I'm going to talk about today is red. And we normally associate that red color with lycopene. Now, lycopene is a carotenoid. It's a phytochemical. There's about 600 or more different carotenoids. And it has been linked through various studies to cancer prevention, specifically prostate cancer prevention. It's also highly anti-inflammatory, which is always a good thing. And where do we find it? We find it in those red fruits and vegetables, tomatoes, pink grapefruit, watermelon, all great sources. And as Dr. Klemp said, the best way to get this is through food, not supplements. Separating out those phytochemicals from the food just hasn't shown to be as beneficial as eating the food. We know a lot about what is going on in food, but what we don't know is how all of those things in food interact with each other and how they interact as a group with what is going on in your body. It's very difficult to say just this one chemical, just this one vitamin, just this one mineral is making this sort of a difference in cancer prevention. But all of them together are working magic inside your bodies, folks. That's why eating those whole foods instead of just supplements makes such a big difference. So my next one, orange colors that we associate with beta-carotene, yet another carotenoid. Guess what, folks? I'm going to be talking a lot about carotenoids today. And what does it do? It's a powerful antioxidant. So have we all heard of free radicals in the press? All of those evil, nasty molecules that are produced by metabolism, by negative parts of the environment, by bad food choices. All of them roaming through our cells, hurting us. Antioxidants are going to take those free radicals and start getting them out of our bodies, eliminating them, therefore helping to make us healthier people. Also, they are very anti-inflammatory as well. So where are you going to find them? Think orange foods. So carrots, sweet potatoes, pumpkins. But do you think I mean pumpkin pie? No, not at all. Pumpkin pie doesn't count, my friends. That's a ton of added sugar. That's a ton of added fat. How you make these vegetables matters as well. As much as I love eating fried mushrooms, they are not healthy. They do not count as a healthy source of vegetables. How you prepare them makes a big difference. Same thing with fruit. Work on eating more whole foods, eating more whole fruits, not fruit pies. Use minimal fats when you're preparing your foods as well, and really try to focus on plant sources of oils in order to cook your foods if you're going to be sauteing them on the stovetop. For instance, olive oil, avocado oil, canola oil, all really good sources of healthy fats. But wait a second. I mean, we're still stuck on that same color, orange, but there's another vitamin we're going to be talking about now, vitamin A. That is exactly the point that I am trying to make with everybody today, that it's not just one thing that's found in each one of these colors. It's just not one vitamin, one mineral, one phytochemical that's found to be associated with a particular color. It's vitamins, it's minerals, it's everything all together working together. So, vitamin A, its major functions in the body are to help with vision. Vitamin A deficiency is still the #1 source of blindness, or #1 cause of blindness in the world. And, sorry, I gotta look at my slide there. It's also related to soft tissue repair. And again, you're gonna find it in those orange fruits and vegetables, your sweet potatoes, carrots, pumpkins, apricots. Who doesn't love apricots? It's a perfect season for apricots right now. Papayas, also great sources of vitamin A. And we're still sticking with those orange and yellow fruits and vegetables. We've got vitamin C up now. It's in so many different fruits and vegetables, but you really find them in orange and yellow fruits and vegetables. It's a water-soluble vitamin. Again, a powerful antioxidant, getting rid of those free radicals. And it's also involved with soft tissue repair. Again, you're going to find it in those orange fruits and vegetables, oranges, peppers, cantaloupe. It's also found in strawberries. Heck, it's found in a lot of green fruits and vegetables as well, which is what I'm going to talk about next when we're talking about lutein and zeaxanthin. It looks like zeaxanthin got cut off. What are they? Phytochemicals, all part of the carotenoid family that we've been talking about before. All powerful antioxidants. Lutein has been shown to help improve vision, and they also have potential, again, potential anti-cancer properties. And where are you going to find them? Your green leafy vegetables, spinach, kale, mustard greens. Honestly, pretty much any sort of leafy green, you are going to find lutein and zeaxanthin. You're also going to find vitamin K in those leafy greens. Remember, like I've been saying, it's not just one thing in each color. It's all sorts of different phytochemicals, vitamins, minerals that you're going to find associated with each one of those colors. So what does vitamin K do? It's needed for blood clotting. It's needed for bone mineralization. And again, you're going to find it in the leafy greens, but you're also going to start finding it in cruciferous vegetables as well, like broccoli, Brussels sprouts, cauliflower. 3 of my personal favorites that I'm going to be talking about next. So now we're on to cruciferous vegetables, your green vegetables, your white vegetables. And it looks like that got cut off as well, unfortunately. So the phytochemical that you're going to find mostly in those cruciferous vegetables is glucoraphanin. It's part of the glucosinolate family, and it's a defense mechanism. That's what makes your broccoli taste bitter. And whenever you cut into your broccoli, you cut into the cauliflower, the Brussels sprouts, and you get that smell. How many of you have ever roasted broccoli or Brussels sprouts and kind of gotten that stinky smell? Kind of stinks up the whole kitchen a little bit. Again, part of those defense mechanisms. And the glucoraphanin converts into sulforaphane whenever you cut into those vegetables. So again, what does it do? It's been theorized to have anti-cancer properties and also lowering cholesterol. But the studies that have been done with this, looking at this particular chemical, like Dr. Klemp said, are all around whole food. Foods that have these in them, not just that particular phytochemical. So where are you going to find it? Like I said, green and white cruciferous vegetables. Broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts. 3 of my personal favorites. All right, so we've covered a lot of different colors so far. We've done orange, yellow. We've done green. We've done bright white. Now we're going to venture into a little bit of an off-white and light green colors. And that is where we're going to find allicin. So what is it? Another one of those phytochemicals. It's formed from allium whenever you cut into a vegetable. That's one of the things that accounts for the strong odor of these vegetables whenever you cut into them. How many of you have thought whenever you're cutting a clove of garlic, geez, oh, Pete, what am I doing? It stinks. How many times do you cut into an onion and your eyes water? Again, all of those defense mechanisms, those phytochemicals that the plant has to defend itself, but actually help you whenever you get it into your body. So what does allicin do? It's been shown to have some anti-inflammatory properties as well, and potential, again, I say potential anti-cancer properties. And where are you going to find that at? You're going to find that in your bulb vegetables, garlic, onions, leeks, shallots, chives, all excellent sources of allicin. And last, I want to touch on blue, red, and purple fruits and vegetables that contain anthocyanins. So what are those anthocyanins? They're pigment compounds. They are what give those red, those blue, those purple colors to fruits and vegetables. Interestingly enough, anthocyanins are also found in tree leaves. So whenever the fall hits and we start seeing the leaves go from green to that beautiful yellow, the red, the purple, those are the anthocyanins being activated in those leaves. Now, I wouldn't necessarily recommend going out and eating oak leaves. Get your anthocyanins through fruits and vegetables, namely your berries. Red cabbages are great, eggplants, radishes. Pretty much, honestly, any form of berry is going to have some anthocyanins in them. Now, have they been proven to be beneficial? Well, the data is still being argued over. The evidence isn't incredibly strong. But what is being shown is that they may have some antioxidant properties, some possible benefits for cardiovascular disease, and possible anti-cancer benefits as well. So now, it's up to you. This may be the end of my presentation, but this is the beginning of your journey to eating more and different fruits and vegetables. My challenge to you, this week, go to the store and find one new fruit and vegetable that you have never tried before. Take them home, hop online, hop on YouTube, learn how to prepare it, and try something new. If you don't like it the first time, try it again. Again, how many of us liked broccoli the first time we tried it? Not that many of us. Keep on trying. Expand your palates. Expand, expand, expand. Always try something new, something different to increase that variety and increase all of those phytochemicals and vitamins and minerals that you're getting from your fruits and vegetables. Remember that variety is key. And blatantly stealing from Skittles, eat the rainbow. Thanks.
Thank you, Nick. So Chef Smith, yeah, you can also call him Farmer Dave. So Chef Smith's been teaching here since 2002, but he also is really passionate about local foods and cooking. He's spent some time working with the children's garden over at our Child Development Center and has done a great job putting that together. So he was the perfect chef to come in and talk about our summer produce. So we are excited to have him. So thank you, Chef.
So a pasta primavera, which is what I'm going to do, is one of my favorite. Technically, it's a spring dish. It means spring vegetables, but if you'll cut me a little slack, it's a great all year long. I do a fall one, and each season you can do this. And so I cook the pasta ahead, and I've got vegetables, and then I will just start. Now the interesting thing to me is I work with the schools in the state of Kansas. In a week, I'll be going out to Prairie Garden, which I didn't know where it was. It's outside of Wichita. And I'll be working with the schools, talking about how to use more fruits and vegetables and how to actually cut fruits and vegetables and to utilize them in school lunches. So there's all sorts of different ways that we can use fruits and vegetables. I just happen to like the fresher ones. I love onions. I put onions and Swiss chard in there to get it started. And I don't like my vegetables overcooked. So if you like your vegetables overcooked, I'm sorry, but that's not how they're going to be done today, I hope. So I've got, oh no, they were to hide me. But and vegetables cook at different rates. So carrots take a little more time, onions take a little more time. And so I just kind of add them kind of in the order that I know that they kind of take. And I do not like my, now look how colorful that is. And I don't like my zucchini or eggplant overcooked either. So those will be the last ones that go in. Tomato can go in a little later, but it doesn't take very long. This is really going to go quick, and I'm doing a lot of vegetables to pasta. Is that all right with you all? And there's some pasta primavera recipes. As you notice, I'm not using all the vegetables that I suggest, and I'm using some that I haven't. So doesn't that look good? Talk about eating the rainbow. More vegetables. Can't have too many vegetables, right? That's what we were just talking about, yeah. So if you'd have waited till after this, all of you would have had their 7 vegetables or more. So I've been very passionate about children's garden because I've discovered if you teach children how to grow vegetables, they're not afraid of them. they know where vegetables come from. So when I started the children's garden about 10 years ago, my wife, who's usually always right, and those of you that are married will, if you know that your spouse is always right, you're ahead of the game. I'm doing a little bit of salt, but not an awful lot for this amount. So when I was starting the children's garden, I said to my wife, well, you know, the kids think vegetables come from the grocery store. And she turned to me and said, no, they think they come out of a window. And at that moment, I realized that probably most of the kids get their meals in fast food through a fast food window. They don't even know what a vegetable looks like or where it comes from. Now, after they've been at the Child Development Center for a year, they know more than most of my beginning students that come in to learn culinary. Now, is that kind of sad? Yeah, it is to me. All right, I think I've got, did you get me some pepper? Is that what this is? All right, so the other thing that you can do with pasta primavera is you can make a frittata with all the same ingredients with the addition of egg, milk, or cream. And then, so if I have some of these vegetables left over, then for the next morning, I can do getting people to eat vegetables for breakfast is really, really difficult, right? That's the last place you want to see a vegetable, maybe fruit. So what'll happen is then when you have the rainbow in an egg and you cut it, and they'll say, oh yeah, that was good last night, and it'll, by sitting overnight, the flavors will pick up. So those are that's about the extent of what I have to offer. If anybody would like to sample this,
I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up for these purposes. But thank you guys so much for coming. In August, we will be doing Dash back to school. So we'll be kind of talking about the Dash diet, some healthy snacks, things like that. We all know that whether you're going back to school, you have kids back to school, or just, you know, end of the summer going back to work, it, you know, kind of changes a little bit of how we're eating. So we'll be talking about packing snacks and that kind of thing. So thank you guys so much for coming, and we look forward to next time.